The poorest spend the most on the most impossible bet. In households earning under $10,000 a year in the United States, roughly 6% of income goes to lottery tickets, 3 times the rate of the wealthy. The odds of winning, 1 in 300 million. The least wealthy are burning the most money on the least possible outcome. This is not stupidity. This is the brain sending an SOS. When anxiety reaches its peak, the circuits that calculate the future shut down. Only the immediate pain remains visible. Understanding how this switch happens changes everything about this story. A study in Tamil Nadu, India, captured this in numbers. The same person, different bank balance. Measurable difference in judgment. Not genes, not education, not willpower. The balance changed. The brain changed. What those numbers mean exactly becomes clear only after we see what happens inside the brain. What if anxiety deletes the option to save entirely? What if spending that deepens poverty is not personal failure, but the inevitable outcome of the brain switching to survival mode? This question doesn't just change one person's story. It rewrites the entire way we understand poverty and the way we design solutions. This isn't just about lottery tickets. The same structure operates in other forms. In the UK, low-income households repeatedly take short-term loans at annual rates of several 100%, dozens of times the interest of standard banks. Many of them take the same loan again the day after repayment. Debt calls debt. This pattern is not an exception. Data from across the world points in the same direction. The most economically vulnerable repeat the most costly choices. Those choices deepen poverty. Anxiety creates consumption. Consumption creates anxiety. This loop has a neuroscientific structure. It is not the kind of loop that willpower alone can break. 2 core regions of the human brain are in constant competition. One is the prefrontal cortex. It plans for the future, calculates outcomes, suppresses impulse. Comparing bank rates, building a savings plan, designing the next decade, all of it belongs here. The other is the amygdala. It detects threats, generates immediate fear responses. Under normal conditions, the prefrontal cortex keeps the amygdala in check. But when anxiety crosses a threshold, the balance collapses. Brain imaging research shows that in chronic anxiety, the amygdala's signal overwhelms the prefrontal cortex. The circuit of reason is displaced by the circuit of fear. Neuroscience calls this hijacking. In this state, the brain can no longer design a future, calculating compound interest, planning retirement in 10 years. These become luxuries. This is the survival system that evolution designed, operating paradoxically in the face of modern deprivation. Buying a lottery ticket, taking a high-interest loan, an impulse purchase, all of it reduces anxiety in the short term. The brain receives an immediate reward. But because these choices are made with the future calculating function switched off, they deepen poverty over time. The brain pushes itself into its own trap. Call this state a tunnel. A brain at peak anxiety is inside a tunnel. Inside the tunnel, only the exit is visible. Savings, investment, future plans. These are the scenery outside the tunnel. What cannot be seen cannot be chosen. That is how the tunnel works. Take a different angle. You have 500,000 won in your account. 2 weeks until payday. The washing machine breaks. Repair. 300,000 won. You feel that. On the way home, you pass a convenience store. A dessert for 4,500 won catches your eye. This was never about willpower. In extreme anxiety, the brain is designed to run toward temporary comfort. The 4,500 won dessert doesn't erase the 300,000 won repair bill. But in that moment, it lets you breathe. It is an act of searching for oxygen inside a tunnel. In 2013, a study published in Science proved this structure in actual lives. 464 sugarcane farmers in Tamil Nadu, India. These farmers receive over 60% of their annual income all at once, just after harvest. The same farmers were tested twice, before harvest, when money was scarce, and after, when it had arrived. Same genes, same education, statistically identical food intake. Only one thing changed: the bank balance. The importance of this study lies in its design, not its results. Because the same person was measured twice, variables like education and personality were eliminated at the source. And the numbers came out. Before harvest, in poverty, farmers' logical reasoning was equivalent to approximately 13 IQ points lower than after harvest. The same cognitive decline experienced by someone who has stayed up all night. This was not correlation. When the balance changed, the brain changed. This is tunneling. Economic scarcity focuses the brain's attention on one immediate survival problem. As a result, the cognitive resources available for long-term thinking are depleted. Scarcity does not create irrational spending. Scarcity makes rational judgment itself impossible. This is not a problem of willpower. It is a problem of cognitive bandwidth. This structure operates in 3 layers. First, anxiety pushes reason aside and installs survival response. Second, scarcity narrows the field of vision. Only the exit is visible. Third, a human who has lost control reaches for consumption to reclaim agency. The lottery data from the beginning reads differently now. This was not a failure of calculation. It was the act of running toward the only exit visible inside a tunnel. One lottery ticket is a negative expected value economically, but psychologically it carries a different meaning. I choose the numbers myself. I buy it with my own money. I wait for the result. The process itself, within an oppressive economic environment, gives the sensation that I am deciding my own fate. It is a sense of control that can be purchased inside an uncontrollable life. The same structure explains why saving holds no appeal for the low income. On $10,000 a year, saving small amounts monthly cannot change the direction of a life. The lottery is different. A few dollars buys the possibility that the direction of life could change entirely. This is not a failure of calculation. It is a different calculation, made from within despair. Consumer psychology research proved this mechanism through experiment. Subjects placed in a state of lost control found greater relief in shopping than those who weren't. Not browsing. The act of choosing and purchasing itself temporarily restored lost agency. Anxiety opens the wallet. Opening the wallet closes the anxiety for a moment. In 2023, Americans spent a total of $103 billion on lotteries. More than concerts, sporting events, movies, and books combined. And the disproportionate share of that money is carried by those who earn the least. This is a regressive tax, not explicitly imposed, but a tax that places the heaviest burden on the poorest. If this is a structural problem rather than one of individual will, the same human being should show entirely different spending patterns depending on which system they're placed in. That is exactly what happens. The bottom 20% in the United States have a chronically negative savings rate. In Denmark, the spending gap between low income and middle income is far smaller. In Denmark, the unemployed receive up to 90% of their income for up to 2 years. Healthcare costs almost nothing. The background level of chronic anxiety is different. The tunnel was designed to be shorter from the start. Same human, same brain. One makes relatively rational choices, the other repeats irrational ones. The difference was the level of anxiety that the system created. So, how does one get out of this tunnel? Should it be willpower? Or should it be structure? 3 directions out of the tunnel have been identified. First, shorten the tunnel itself. Second, remove the traps inside the tunnel. Third, design systems that function even inside the tunnel. First, shorten the tunnel itself. Remove the source of chronic anxiety. This is the role of the social safety net. In a society with a safety net, scarcity converts to existential threat more slowly. The threshold at which the brain gets hijacked rises. A 2017 experiment in Finland demonstrated this. 2,000 unemployed individuals selected at random received €560 per month for 2 years, unconditionally. The amount was nearly identical to existing unemployment benefits. What changed was the condition. When the payment method changed, the proportion experiencing mental stress fell from 25% to 16.6%. Confidence in the future rose by 12 percentage points. The amount of money did not change. When anxiety fell, the brain changed. The tunnel had been shortened. Second, remove the traps inside the tunnel. In 2015, the UK's Financial Conduct Authority set a legal cap on the interest rates of high-rate short-term loans. Over the following years, the number of loans fell by nearly half. 760,000 borrowers a year were relieved of a combined £150 million in interest. 63% of those who had been denied a loan said this later. Being turned down turned out to be better for my life. Change the structure. The choices that looked foolish disappear. Third, design systems that function even inside the tunnel. Richard Thaler's savings program shows this principle at work. Instead of asking people to save more now, participants pre-committed to automatically increasing their savings from future raises. No judgment required. A structure was built where judgment was unnecessary. Workers in this program saw their savings rate rise from an average of 3.5% to 13.6% over 40 months. The content of the choice wasn't changed. The moment and structure in which the choice was made were. We return to the image from the beginning. Inside a tunnel, only the exit is visible. This is not that person's flaw. It is how the tunnel works. Even someone with abundant willpower enters the tunnel and sees only the exit. Now we can ask differently. Not, why can't the poor save? But, is the environment the poor inhabit designed to make saving possible? Not, why do they buy lottery tickets? But, did that person have any hope available to purchase other than a lottery ticket? Change the direction of the question. The answer changes too. Perhaps some of the consumption we repeat is not preference. It is an oxygen tank built by anxiety. The question is not why we bought it. The question is why there was no other way to breathe. Now ask yourself, were the choices you thought were yours really yours? Or had the tunnel you were standing in already decided the shape of your choices before you made them?